Myself, Nicholas Barla. I come from village called Kutra Bahal in the forest of district called Sambalpur in the state of Odisha from India. And I have one organization called Indigenous Peoples Forum Odisha. And through this organization, we are trying to bring all the indigenous people of Odisha as well as of the country in India. Yeah, the Indigenous Peoples Advisory Forum was formed just maybe about 3 years back, and I am involved in the last 3 years and participated in all 3 international meetings. We have a forum of indigenous groups covering now almost about 10 countries, and we can discuss different issues, different concerns regarding extracting industries and give proposals to ASI. And that way how the Indigenous Peoples Forum with ASI, we are joined together and we are working together. One thing is very important, that wherever indigenous peoples are there are forests, there are minings, and there are industries, and all developmental activities are going on. And in the ground reality, we the indigenous people we have to sacrifice our land, our forest, our water. And we also need development. We also need to participate in the development process. But unfortunately, in many of the places, what I have observed is we are excluded. There are lots of human rights violations. There are lots of environmental pollutions, water pollutions, soil erosion. We have lots of land issues. The companies and land, the indigenous people and forest, indigenous people and water, indigenous people and environment, the human rights and indigenous people and companies. So there are lots of issues which are in need of addressing. Maybe also when the conflict arises, say like in India, we have the issue of extremism. Wherever minings are there are extremist group, there are companies, there are police, and it becomes really a very crucial moment how to tackle these issues. We have a very good example of one company, and unfortunately they had to go up to Supreme Court level, and Supreme Court would direct the company to go to the village and ask their consent. And finally the community said no. So long process, 2003 to 2013. So the lesson all of us we learnt among the indigenous communities, that if we join together with the local communities, then the development could go easy way. The United Nations Declaration on the Rights of the Indigenous Peoples, many of the countries they have signed. And the prior and informed consent, which is one of the basic element while going for this type of development activities or extracting industries, whoever is in a development process and they come to the indigenous people's areas, they have to understand this type of laws and acts and rules that are existing. And when the local people are aware of this, they are empowered this type of information and knowledge, they have the say to the government or to the companies or whoever comes. And when the companies or the development agencies, they do not listen and they go forcefully, then the conflict arises. Aluminium stewardship initiatives can definitely help, particularly this marginalized group, so-called indigenous people in the world. ASI is definitely very positive in terms of human rights, in terms of environmental issues, and in terms of development. And therefore, together with ASI and indigenous people and the entire political leaders, our scientists and engineers, those who are involved in this process of ASI, I think we can bring a change, we can bring a transformation in the development process of the world. From indigenous peoples groups, we take the initiative, and ASI can support us in terms of training, in terms of documentation, research, and other resources. The indigenous community, they come forward, and we can jointly go forward, and definitely the ASI can take a lead in the global development. So there is lots of opportunity for ASI for the better development in the world. As we visited the area where aluminium has been extracted since last 100 years, that was a great learning for all of us. And there I felt personally that people, the local indigenous people and local people, they were not much included in the planning, in the decision making, and in the implementation stage. So as we were talking to the community leaders in Suriname, we felt that if they had joined together in both planning, decision making, and in implementation, I think the local people could have been benefited more, and which is their right. Because in a development process, it is inclusive process where the local and development agency, they join together and they make the development. So that was a great learning in Suriname. The previous year, we were in Australia, in Gove. There also, now people have come forward in the Gumas cooperative, and they are taking up the entire development process by themselves, which are very good example that we have learned. And this particular message should go to all over the world through ASI, that ASI could facilitate for the development of the local people, particularly the indigenous communities who are in need. Yeah, we have already discussed in several work plans. For example, in each state, each countries, we have local land laws, forest laws, environmental laws, human rights laws. So how these laws are being implemented in word and in spirit. So that is very important. In IPAF, already we have discussed that we should reach out to other countries also. Like African countries, we have not yet reached. In the last meeting, when we sat in Suriname, there were our people from Brazil and Peru. So we have to reach to our own communities through IPAF, so which is a need. Because as in the beginning I said, wherever indigenous people are there, there are mining, this extracting industries are there, and people are facing lots of problems. So once we reach to these groups and we join together, plus with ASI, I think we'll be able to reach somewhere. So that's our hope and how we are looking forward.